We're going to take a look at putting fractions into simplest form. So in the upper left here, I have 3/6. And 3/6 is equivalent to 1/2 or equal to 1/2. I know that because if I draw them, they're equal. So I'm going to draw 3/6. So there's 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, and then over here is 1/2. And I can tell that they're equal because they're shaded the same. See, this top half here is shaded and this top half here is shaded. So 3/6 is equal to 1/2. I know that because they're shaded the same. Another reason is because if I take 3/6 and if I divide the numerator and denominator by the same number, we get 1/2. So if I divide the numerator by 3 and the denominator by 3, we get 1/2. Now remember, I'm not taking 3/6 and dividing it by 3. That's something different. What I'm doing is dividing the numerator by 3 and the denominator by 3 to get an equal fraction. So 3/6 is equal to 1/2. But 3/6 is not in simplest form. 1/2 is in simplest form. The reason why 1/2 is in simplest form is because you can't divide the numerator and denominator by any whole numbers evenly. 3/6, you could divide the numerator by 3 and the denominator by 3, but 1/2, you cannot divide the numerator and denominator anymore. So it's simplest form. And think of it, it's simpler to draw. It's simpler to picture in your head. It's easier to work with. So now over here we have 6/8, and 6/8 is not in simplest form. And the reason is because you can divide the numerator and denominator by a number evenly. So I got to think in my head, what number divides evenly into 6 and 8? 2. You can divide 6 by 2 and 8 by 2. So if I divide my numerator and denominator by 2, I will get an equivalent fraction. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So 6/8 is equal to 3/4. I know that because if I draw it, 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, and if I draw 3/4, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, they're equal. They're both shaded the same. And another reason is because I divide the numerator of 6/8 and the denominator in 6/8 by the same number. I divided them both by 2. So 6/8 is equivalent or equal to 3/4. Yet 3/4 is in simplest form. It's easier to draw, easier to picture in your head, easier to work with. And there's no numbers that divide evenly, no whole numbers that divide evenly into 3 and 4. So 3/4 is in simplest form. So now let's try 6/24. I want to put 6/24 into simplest form. So I'm going to work with the top fraction here, 6/24, and think, what divides evenly into 6 and 24? 2. So I can divide 6 and 24 by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 24 divided by 2 is 12. But 3/12 is not in simplest form. I can divide the numerator and denominator by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 12 divided by 3 is 4, and 1/4 is in simplest form because there's no numbers that divide evenly into 1 and 4, and also, whenever the numerator is a 1, it's in simplest form. Now, let's try it a different way. So I'm going to work with the middle fraction here, 6/24, and think, what divides evenly into 6 and 24? Well, I can divide by 3. Because you can do 6 divided by 3 and 24 divided by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 24 divided by 3 is 8. But 2/8 is not in simplest form because you can divide 2 and 8 by 2. Now remember, you're not really dividing 2/8 by 2. You're dividing the numerator and denominator by 2 to get an equivalent fraction. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. There we go. So I still came up with 1/4. I just did it a different way. Now I'm going to try this bottom one a different way as well. So I have 6/24. What divides evenly into 6 and 24? 6. In fact, if you divide the numerator and denominator by the biggest possible number, then you'll only have to divide the numerator and denominator once. And so if I divide by 6, I will immediately get my fraction into simplest form because it's the biggest number that divides into 6 and 24. So 6 divided by 6 is 1, and 24 divided by 6 is 4. And now we have 1/4. That's in simplest form because there's no numbers that divide evenly into 1 and 4. And also, whenever the numerator is 1, you know it's in simplest form. Let's try some more. So up at the top, I have 3/15. I have to divide the numerator and denominator by a number evenly. So I think, what divides into 3 and 15? 3. You can divide the numerator by 3 and the denominator by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 15 divided by 3 is 5. So we got 1/5. Simplest form, I'm done. Now, down in the middle, we have 8/12. So I want to think of the biggest number that divides into 8 and 12. 4. So I can do 8 divided by 4 and 12 divided by 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And now we have 2/3. And 2/3 is in simplest form because there's no numbers that divide evenly into 2 and 3. And also, when the numerator and denominator are just one apart, like 2 and 3, it's in simplest form. Now, there is another way you could have done 8/12 and put 8/12 into simplest form. You could have divided by 2, because you can divide 8 by 2 and 12 by 2, and then you would get 4/6, but then you would need to divide again, which is okay. If you do it in 2 steps, it's fine. You'll still come up with the same answer in the end. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And there we go. I got 2/3. It did take me 2 steps, but it's fine. Now in the bottom I have 2/7. So now I need to think, what divides evenly into 2 and 7? There aren't any numbers that divide evenly into 2 and 7. 2/7 is in simplest form because there's no numbers that divide evenly into 2 and 7. So 2/7 is already in simplest form. Now let's try 3 more. So I have 4/10. So I think, oh, that's not in simplest form. There's a number that divides evenly into 4 and 10. 2. You can divide the numerator and denominator by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And 2/5 is in simplest form. There's no numbers that divide evenly into 2 and 5. Now the middle one, 3/9. What divides evenly into 3 and 9? 3. 3 divided by 3 and 9 divided by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And I know that's in simplest form because the numerator is a 1. Now we have 6/12. I want to think of the biggest number that divides evenly into 6 and 12. 6. So I'm going to divide the numerator by 6 and the denominator by 6. You could choose 3, you could choose 2, but you would end up needing to use 2 steps there. So 6 divided by 6 is 1, 12 divided by 6 is 2, and the numerator is a 1, so I know it's in simplest form, and we're all done.